Tonight, violent crime on the decline.
Both violent crime volume and severity decreased for the second consecutive year.
Why police say violent incidents are dropping, and why the latest crime report isn't all good news. Also tonight, falling behind on fire fines.
We need property owners to take care of their properties.
How much money the city is owed by vacant property owners, and why a plan to get them to pay up is falling short. Plus, lost and found, the bittersweet reunion for a local school and their recently stolen play structure.
CTV News. Live from downtown Winnipeg with Marilee Caruso.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us. I'm Catherine Dow. Marilee is away. Winnipeg's violent crime numbers dropped in 2025. Winnipeg police released their annual crime report today, which showed the severity of crimes is down nearly 9%. CTV's Jeff Keel joins us now live to break this down more. So, Jeff, what exactly is driving these numbers down?
A drop in homicides, assaults, firearm offenses, and robberies. But the police chief cautions this is no victory lap today.
There were fewer violent crimes reported in Winnipeg last year.
This marks the second consecutive year of reductions in violent crime.
The Winnipeg Police Service released crime stats for 2025. While overall crime volumes were up 1.1%, violent crimes were down 4.8%, including homicides, assaults, firearm offenses, and robberies. Youth crime dropped 11.7%, and the total severity of crimes was down 8.8%, with the severity of violent crime decreasing 11.2%.
Total crime severity decreased significantly in 2025, driven by one of the largest decreases in violent crime severity in recent history.
For property crimes, theft from vehicles was up 13.2%, but vehicle thefts were down 11.5%. Break and enters dropped 20.4%, and shoplifting was down 4.6%. This after a plan was launched where police patrolled stores and hotspots.
We've put a lot of attention to retail theft. We continue to put attention to that.
Police credit the drop in several crime categories to frontline officers, the public, and new initiatives like the unit that targets violent criminals. Plus, 35 new officers hit the streets in 2025.
Much improvement with police presence downtown.
I would describe this report as progress, but there is still a lot of work left to do.
Case in point, drug crimes were up 9.1%, mischief 8.6%, and crime volumes downtown shot up 17.2%.
I work downtown, so it's a little worrying walking to and from every day.
I see undesirable people on street corners, and I'll just go the other way.
And the police were busier in 2025. Dispatched to more than 254,000 incidents, a 6% bump.
This number underscores the continued pressures facing our frontline officers, public safety, communicators, and partner agencies.
Police made 18,777 arrests in 2025, a 12.9% jump from 2024.
Now, Jeff, was there any crime stat that stood out for you?
Yes, hate crimes. 112 hate-motivated crimes were reported to Winnipeg police in 2025, a 154% spike. Police have theories as to why. Global tensions are likely contributing to a rise. Nationally, hate crimes have gone up over the last few years. And new in 2025, people had the ability to report hate graffiti online to police.
All right, thanks for this, Jeff. The province has issued a wildfire alert for a region in northern Interlake. The Emergency Management Organization says a wildfire was reported yesterday near Easterville and Chemawawin First Nation. Online wildfire monitoring services show it's roughly 1.5 kilometers southwest of Easterville. However, the system says there is currently no threat to human lives or homes. It's listed as approximately 412 hectares in size. According to the province's latest wildfire report, there were 7 fires burning across the province as of Tuesday. Only one was deemed out of control, and that is the fire by Easterville. We have an update on that shooting in northern Manitoba yesterday, in which 2 people who were riding an ATV had to be airlifted to hospital here in Winnipeg. It happened shortly after midnight in Mateus-Colombe First Nation, also known as Puckatawagan. RCMP now say a 15-year-old boy was arrested at a home in the community last night. He remains in custody and is facing several charges, including aggravated assault and discharging a firearm with intent. The shooting injured a 21-year-old man and a 17-year-old boy. Back in Winnipeg, where we're learning the city has collected only a fraction of the $3.5 million in fines issued to owners of vacant properties that have caught fire over the past 3.5 years.
We want to keep these property owners held accountable. Otherwise, we're going to continue to see fires, derelict, and vacant homes in our community.
According to data from the Winnipeg Fire Paramedics Service, the city has only recouped about $232,000 in partial or full payments from 14 of the 150 outstanding invoices. That leaves more than $3.8 million unpaid. Unpaid accounts are referred to the city's collection services, but the data suggests the existing repayment system isn't working. Mayor Scott Gillingham says council wants the provincial government to amend legislation to allow the city to recover the outstanding fees through property taxes.
Of course, we have to be prudent as well as a city. We've got to weigh out the cost of going to court, versus the cost of what we may recover through the fines that we've levied on properties. It would make it a lot easier if the legislation could be changed as we requested, because then we can take any of those unpaid fines and we could put that onto people's property tax bills like we do with water and waste fines.
According to the city, the public service submitted a formal request to the province in the fall of 2024 to amend the legislation, but they have not received a response. In a statement to CTV News, a provincial spokesperson says the issue is still under discussion. Under current bylaws, the city can fine owners more than $10,000 the first time a vacant building goes up in flames, scaling to more than $51,000 for a 4th incident. The city of Winnipeg is opening the taps on its hydration stations this week. 9 locations are popping up to ensure folks have access to clean drinking water this summer. That includes at downtown Central Park, the Bell Tower on Selkirk Avenue, and the southeast corner of Roslyn Road and Osborne Street. While crews get things flowing, water tank trailers are set up at Silo Mission, Agape Table, and the Salvation Army Center of Hope. A full list of station locations and places to cool off can be found on the city's website. CTV weather specialist Colleen Brady joins us now for our first look at your Skywatch evening forecast. I'm going to air my grievances in public. I filled in for you last week.
Oh, you did.
Cold, cloudy, cool. This week, as we heard in that last story, it is expected to get so hot out there. Wow, Colleen.
Well, it's almost like a running joke, right? You fill in for me and the weather is not so desirable. Now, arguably, when it gets as warm as it's about to get in the next couple of days, that also is not so desirable. And that is why Environment and Climate Change Canada has issued heat warnings for a good swath of the prairie provinces, both orange and yellow heat warnings. Effectively, there's a heat dome over the prairie provinces, including here in Manitoba, where we have heat warnings in effect all the way from the U.S. border well into northern parts of the province. Coming up, I'll show you how high it's going to get during the day, those temperatures, and really how high those temperatures are going to stay overnight and how long that will last. All that to come. Let's take a look right now, though. First, through the CTV Live Eye, it's brought to you by Bathfitter, exclusive home of the PermaFit solution. Under that blue sky, it is a warm 28 degrees, winds from the east at 17 kilometers an hour with wind gusts up to 30. The pressure is dropping and the humidity right now, Catherine, is 20%.
Thanks, Colleen. Fire and demolition crews were on scene following a significant blaze in the Mission industrial area earlier today. The city says just after 6 a.m. this morning, firefighters returning from a different early morning call spotted some smoke. When they followed it to the 500 block of Messier Street, crews found shipping containers and industrial equipment ablaze. Parts of Archibald Street were shut down as a precaution because of the nearby rail lines. The fire was brought under control half an hour later. The cause of the fire is still under investigation. Members of the Manitoba legislature are going overtime as they hash out a bill on affordability.
I'm trying to take the tax off of your groceries, and I got to say there's nothing less helpful to your cost of living than procedural stunts in the legislature.
Legislators sat overnight and into this morning in an ongoing battle over a government budget bill that includes a tax cut on some food items. Kelvin Gertson spoke for roughly 4 hours via Zoom without stopping. The bill contains several measures, including elimination of the provincial sales tax on items like prepared meals, snacks and soft drinks at grocery and convenience stores. The opposition Progressive Conservatives say the tax cut doesn't amount to much and have called for an income tax cut to be added to the bill.
We have said as opposition that we want to work with the NDP government, that we want to work with the Premier, that we will compromise, we will work together to put in real affordability measures. So we've already presented that. We've said it for the last 30 hours. We've said that in the chamber. And so the ball's in the Premier's court.
The government has said the food tax cut cannot take effect on July 1st as planned unless the Tories let the bill pass before the legislature. The Manitoba government plans to greatly reduce the number of locations where flavored vaping products can be sold. A bill introduced in the legislature on Tuesday would forbid the sale of such products in businesses in urban areas that allow people under 18 to enter. The measure would not apply in rural areas. The NDP government says the aim is to help reduce the risk that minors see the products, be enticed by the flavoring, and get hooked. Health Minister Uzoma Asagwera was asked why they didn't try to introduce a blanket ban on the flavored products.
Well, we also know that there are many adults out there who do smoke, who look for a harm reduction approach, and we know that flavored vape products are that for them. So we know that for folks who are maybe making some changes to smoking cigarettes, that having an option like a flavored vape product is something that alleviates that for them. It makes it easier for folks to cut back on smoking cigarettes and eventually eliminate smoking at all.
But the Manitoba Lung Association says stronger measures are needed, and the idea lags behind efforts in some other provinces. It's hoping the government will change the bill before it is passed into law. On this National Day of Action, Indigenous organizations are calling on the federal government to protect support for residential school survivors and the search for unmarked burial sites.
There needs to be an extensive approach to healing because these policies and these systems have hurt our families so much.
But AMC Grand Chief Kyra Wilson says the federal government's plan to sunset supports for the residential schools Missing Children Community Support Fund and survivors does the opposite. That's why a national e-petition has been launched. It calls for continued federal support for programs and services to assist communities, survivors, and their families.
Everybody is at a different level of healing. Like I've been healing since I was 35 and I'm 75 years old. And it's not easy because suppressing all your emotions and all your it really impacts your body.
The National Day of Action falls on the 5th anniversary of the announcement of 215 suspected unmarked graves at the former site of the Kamloops Indian Residential School. We have an update for you on a story we brought you last week, and it is good news. That play structure that was stolen from a Headingley preschool has been found. CTV's John Hendricks has the details.
At the Guiding Minds Montessori School in Headingley, outside playtime isn't just something the kids enjoy, they absolutely love it.
It is their time to let go and run and scream and do what they want to do.
And one of the things they often wanted to do was play on their outdoor wooden play structure. But they haven't been able to recently because late last Thursday or early Friday morning, someone drove a vehicle through the school's fence and stole it.
There was tire tracks all the way up to the sand here and just kind of like cut it or pulled it out and put it on the trailer and away they went.
And never to be seen again or so you might think. But Winnipeg police identified a suspect. And then on Tuesday, the Major Crimes Unit executed a search warrant at a Winnipeg home, where they found the stolen play structure, along with an RV which had previously been reported stolen.
It was surreal to see this tow truck drive up with my play structure.
Sadly, it was no longer in one piece.
Right here where I'm standing is where the slide was. There was monkey bars, so the children would be able to go on the monkey bars.
Except now they're on the ground, damaged.
It's cracked. Here is cracked. The base is cracked.
And therefore no longer safe to use. But this main section is fine. And with the help of one of the school's parents, it will be turned into a treehouse of sorts. And thanks to some generous donations from the community, the school says it will be able to get a new play structure.
I can organize and get these structures, get our park back for the kids.
And allow them to get back to their fun, which was briefly interrupted. John Hendricks, CTV News, Winnipeg.
A 35-year-old man has been charged with 2 counts of break-and-enter and theft. He was detained in custody. A reminder, none of those charges have been tested in court. Potholes, litter, and sidewalk cracks, the usual signs Winnipeg is waking up after a long winter. That's why the city's neighborhood action team is springing back into action. City crews dressed in green uniforms like the ones on your screen will be spending 4 weeks in each ward. 5 teams made up of 7 workers will fix broken street signs, clear branches, or any other neighborhood concerns you might contact 311 about. And if you haven't called or filled out an online report, you can hand crews that to-do list in person.
When you see them, feel free to say hi, thank them for the work they do, or for sure, add to their list of things to do in the neighborhood.
More details on what the teams can do, how to submit requests, and when crews are in your area can be found on our website, ctvnewswinnipeg.ca. It just became easier for folks living in Brandon to check out what projects are underway across the city. The city has just unveiled its online capital project dashboard. It features a list of projects that are currently underway and offers some details on their timelines and construction phases. There's also a map residents can use to see where the projects are happening. It currently lists 38 projects ranging from water main replacements to new roundabouts to sidewalk replacements. Still to come tonight, in a shift away from the U.S., Ottawa is entering into defense negotiations with a Swedish-based company.
We can show now as a company and as a country how closely we want to work with Canada.
We'll have more on the plan to buy a fleet of surveillance aircraft when we come back. Taking a look at the markets, crude oil lost over $5. The loonie slipped to 72.30 cents U.S. Gold futures closed $53 lower. The TSX fell 241 points. The Dow Jones added 182 points. The Nasdaq was up 18 points. A Manitoba bear rescue is taking a rural municipality to court over its approval of a nearby quarry. Manitoba Bear Rehabilitation Centre and its owners, Judy and Roger Stearns, filed an application with the Court of King's Bench on May 22nd. They allege the quarry's operation threatens their rescue's ability to function, citing blasting, vibration, noise, dust, and other factors. They further allege the municipality of Rockwood approved extraction applications without fully disclosing what drove the decision, which it says denied the rescue a fair chance to respond. The RM of Rockwood, along with the companies behind the quarry and others, are named as defendants. The RM has declined to comment, citing the ongoing lawsuit. The companies involved have not yet responded to our request for comments either. No statements of defense have been filed, and the claims have not yet been tested in court. In the latest move away from the U.S., Prime Minister Mark Carney announced today that Canada is turning to Sweden for a cutting-edge aerial surveillance system. It's called Global Eye, and it's made by Saab. Its detection sensors will be installed on Canadian jets made by Bombardier to patrol the skies, including the far north. CTV's Junie Trin on what this means for Canada's defense.
packed room at a defense conference, listening to the Prime Minister's mantra.
Build, partner, buy. We are focused first on building in Canada.
Exemplified by an investment in a joint Swedish-Canadian venture.
I'm pleased to announce that Canada has entered into negotiations to procure Saab's airborne early warning and control aircraft.
Saab's Global Eye surveillance system is built on the platform of Bombardier's corporate jet. The company has at least 40 aircraft in its pipeline to be sold to Canada and other allies. 3,000 jobs could be created. Economic spin-offs are in the tens of billions of dollars.
What this will do is create a new layer of job opportunities in terms of the modifications of the aircraft. So what Bombardier is doing now is getting actively involved in the discussions to create this secondary production.
Saab beat out an American competitor for its surveillance aircraft, momentum that it hopes could lift its chances of convincing Canada to purchase its Gripen fighter jet instead of the U.S.-made F-35. There are lineups to get into its cockpit.
We can show now as a company and as a country how closely we want to work with Canada. And if I can show how I can create an industrial collaboration and a hub on this type of capability in Canada.
At the Lockheed Martin booth, the F-35 simulator and its test pilot attracts interest but not buzz. Amid U.S. trade tensions, moving forward with procuring fighter jets has been paused for more than a year, worrying Canadian suppliers who have much to lose if the F-35 isn't selected.
Direct jobs, but also strengthening the company's programs and capabilities.
Wrapping up the negotiations for these surveillance planes will likely take a few more months. As for a decision on the fighter jets, the federal government is still refusing to say when. Judy Trin, CTV News, Ottawa.
Canada is getting ready for trade talk ahead of the July 1st deadline for a review of the Canada-US-Mexico trade agreement. Trade Minister Dominic LeBlanc is headed to Washington next week. LeBlanc was in Washington in March when he met with U.S. Trade Representative Jamieson Greer. Since then, the trade tensions have continued. The U.S. continues to raise concerns over Canada's supply management policies. Canada is trying to fight back against the tariffs on steel, aluminum, automobiles, and forestry products. Iran is vowing to retaliate after U.S. airstrikes. It is threatening the fragile ceasefire and putting more doubt in President Trump's assertion the end of the war is near. The latest now from ABC's Christiane Cordero.
Today, weeks into on-again, off-again negotiations to end the war in Iran, President Trump insists any potential deal has to be, quote, perfect.
It's got to be perfect. I'm not going to do this. I didn't do this to get a crummy agreement.
Oman is helping negotiate the reopening of the Strait of Hormuz. Iranian state media reports the two countries are collaborating a new procedure for ships to pass through the critical waterway, and that it will be completely different from how the strait operated before the war began. The president today rejected anyone controlling international waters when asked by ABC's Rachel Scott.
Would you accept a short-term deal that allows Iran and Oman to control the strait, and would they have to open it immediately, or would you be open to that happening over a period of time?
The strait's going to be open to everybody. Nobody's going to control it. It's international waters, and Oman will behave just like everybody else, and we'll have to blow them up. They understand that. They'll be fine.
Oman, a U.S. ally, has not responded to Trump's threat. Iranian officials, meanwhile, are increasing the rhetoric, saying they're ready to continue military action if necessary, as some 1,500 commercial vessels sit stranded behind the strait, surging global oil prices since the war began.
We don't need oil. We don't need the strait. We don't need anything.
Global oil prices impact the price of gas here at home. Right now, global oil is trading at $96 a barrel. An average gallon of regular gas here in the U.S. is $4.45, according to Gas Buddy. That's up about $1.50 since the war began. Christiane Cordero, ABC News, Washington.
Uganda has closed its border with the Democratic Republic of Congo as Ebola cases in that country continue to climb. A Ugandan task force cited concern with the number of Congolese patients crossing the border and exposing Ugandan healthcare workers. The border between Uganda and Congo is almost 1,000 kilometers long. There are almost 1,000 suspected Ebola cases and at least 220 suspected deaths in Congo. The record-breaking heat continues in Britain and France.
Heat here, it's very warm. A lot of places have air conditioning, so that's okay. Whereas back home, no air conditioning, so it's a struggle. It's a struggle.
In Italy today, the temperatures exceeded 35 degrees. Alerts have been issued warning of health risks for vulnerable populations. Officials in the UK say 9 people have died in the sea, rivers and lakes during the heat wave. Britain on Monday saw the hottest day in May on record, with temperatures near 35 degrees. As food insecurity is spiking among Canadian families, a new partnership in the Seven Oaks School Division will help expand meal programs to break down barriers for its students.
It's going to be able to allow us to move into hot meals, right? And that'll be both at breakfast and at lunchtime. And depending on how this moves along at supper time also.
This is part of the plan the division has for the $1.5 million gift it received from the Schroeder Foundation. Initial investments include building a universal food program kitchen and redeveloping culinary classrooms at Garden City Collegiate. Support to provide up to 160 weekly food hampers and other wraparound supports.
We find out students who are missing school quite a bit, and we have a team of individuals who work with those kids, go out into the community to meet with their families, and really find ways to support them 24/7.
Upgrades will begin in June to be ready for the expanded food program in September. Hampers will begin this summer.
You want help, there's no help. You basically help yourself or drown.
Nearing a breaking point, the difficult decision facing people living in Leaf Rapids as the community faces one blow after another.
And this stretch of exceptionally warm weather for this time of year, really for any time of year, will continue all throughout the long-range forecast, too. 35 again on Friday under a mix of sun and cloud. But here's the thing, too. These overnight lows not providing relief. They're staying in the 20s, both Friday night and Saturday night. Saturday, by the way, during the day, first of all, 32 degrees. Similar on Sunday, sunshine 32, 31 on Monday. Again, back up to 30 degrees on Tuesday under a mix of sun and cloud.
A northern Manitoba town already struggling for years is now facing another breaking point. Residents in Leaf Rapids say empty grocery shelves, wildfire destruction, and deteriorating services are making daily life increasingly difficult. And some are now being offered the option to relocate. CTV's Alex Carpa traveled to the small town and has that story.
Sylvia Smith reads a letter she received from the province, giving her the option to leave her home in Leaf Rapids.
If you would like to talk about moving, please contact your case counselor. Oh, I don't want to move.
The province says this is not a forced relocation of Leaf Rapids residents, but rather an opportunity to move somewhere with better access to essential services. However, Smith argues that those essential services should be restored to the town instead.
You want help, there's no help. You basically help yourself or drown. Sink or swim.
It's a harsh reality the over 200 people who call Leaf Rapids home face.
This is our meat section here, and as you can see, there's basically nothing here.
At the community's only grocery store, empty shelves have become all too normal, making it increasingly difficult for residents to buy basic food.
This is where our apples, oranges, everything would be normally.
Anderson says food shortages have been an ongoing issue for months, and it's heartbreaking to watch her hometown deteriorate.
It was a booming town. Like, there was so much going on here. Like, and you look at it now, it's like a fragment of what it was.
Leaf Rapids thrived in the 1970s as a hub for the nearby mine, but when it shut down in 2002, the town's decline began. Businesses closed and many services were reduced. The town's council also dissolved in 2019, leaving the province in charge. Then came last summer's wildfires, adding yet another challenge.
Majority of the residents have left Leaf Rapids over the last number of years, including after last year's devastating wildfire season, which, as you can see behind me, impacted many homes in the community.
A lot of these damages were done to these homes.
Raymond Moynier is still working to repair his home, but says access to resources is limited.
We're willing to stick it out. We're willing to fight for this town, this place, our north.
It's a sentiment shared by many who remain in Leaf Rapids, residents fighting not for an ending, but for a future. Alex Carpa, CTV News, Leaf Rapids, Manitoba.
CTV Skywatch weather brought to you by South Beach Casino and Resort. Visit southbeachcasino.ca.
CTV weather specialist Colleen Brady has your complete Skywatch weather forecast. Number of heat warnings out there, Colleen. I understand why when I step outside.
Absolutely.
Scorching.
And we're only getting started with that heat here in Manitoba. As hot as it already has been, it's about to get even hotter, but even hotter still to the west. And that's why we have both orange and yellow heat warnings in effect across the prairie provinces. Now, no matter what the color is, the heat warning is always to be taken seriously. But where you see the orange here over Saskatchewan, that's where Environment Canada assesses the impact to be high, as if it isn't already high enough. But basically what this means is temperatures even hotter there, in the mid-30s expected over the next few days. We will come very close, including tomorrow here in southern Manitoba. So as for Manitoba, you can see much of the province under a yellow warning for heat, where Environment Canada assesses the impact to be moderate. But again, any heat warning to be taken seriously in these conditions. Winnipeg now under that heat warning as well. Here in the south, we will have daytime highs in the low to mid 30s and overnight lows in the upper teens or low 20s right into next week, as you saw there with that long range forecast. Further north, very similar conditions, hot highs in the upper 20s, low 30s, and those very warm overnight lows, and that will stretch into early next week as well. And here's why. Here's a snapshot. Here's the current temperatures right now, upper 20s and low 30s across the south, 28 here in Winnipeg. You can see it's a little cooler over the border in northwestern Ontario, 23 there. Up in the north, very warm as well. Most communities in the 20s this hour, the exception being Churchill, although it's considerably warmer there than it was yesterday. Now we're under that upper ridge of high pressure I was talking about earlier, effectively creating a heat dome. So the heat at night really has nowhere to go. It's trapped at the surface. So that's why we're going to see those overnight lows in the upper teens and low 20s across much of the province over the next several days. That aside, not much weather happening, although the potential for convection or thunderstorm development does start to grow tomorrow with those growing temperatures. But otherwise, bright and sunny across Manitoba and northwestern Ontario, clear on Thursday night and into Friday. More sunshine and more heat all across the province and east into Ontario. For tonight, for Winnipeg, we drop down to 16 degrees, mostly clear, winds out of the southeast at 20 kilometers an hour, 19 already for the commute tomorrow morning in the sunshine, winds out of the southeast at 20, a bit of a breeze with those winds picking up a bit in the afternoon at 30 on the way to that hot high of 35 degrees in the sun. The UV index for tomorrow, Thursday, as you might expect, is 8 or high. And across the north tonight, it will get a little cloudy in Churchill, dropping down to 6 there. A few clouds over Gillam, Island Lake, and Thompson. Thompson drops to 9, up to 29 you go tomorrow. Now, there's a mix of sun and cloud around the region with a low chance of afternoon showers with the risk of thunder showers. In the northwest tonight, partly cloudy over Lynn Lake. You could see showers before morning. Clear for the rest of the region. Overnight lows double digits. And again, mix of sun and cloud with that chance of thunder showers or showers in the afternoon. But hot highs in the low 30s and upper 20s. The southwest tonight, a few clouds. Brandon down to 16, Dauphin 13, mix of sun and cloud right around the region. Everyone looking at highs tomorrow right around 35 degrees. Winnipeg in the southeast, a few clouds, but really pretty clear. Overnight lows in the mid to upper teens. Sunshine or a mix of sun and cloud. Those winds picking up in the afternoon out of the south. south. Highs in the low to mid 30s, 35 for Winnipeg, and in northwestern Ontario, clear tonight. And then tomorrow, winds pick up there too, and so does the heat. Sunshine and hot highs of 29 and 30 degrees. Our first weather photo is from Garnet, this beautiful look out at Cross Lake, Manitoba. And this next one was a great shot because earlier today there were a line of thunderstorms that were moving through the southwest corner of the province. That photo is east of Verdun along Highway 1 from Andrew. Send us your pics to Winnipeg Weather at ctv.ca.
Check the toy box. A long list of children's products were just recalled by Health Canada. Plus, new research suggests a staggering number of teens are losing sleep because of cell phones. Medical Watch is next.
The issue, I think, in the court is whether that duty to consult should apply to citizen-initiated petitions, and that's where I think that the court erred in judgment.
I think we know that is not correct, a lot of what you just said there, Premier Smith. It is not up to the petition gatherers to fulfill the duty to consult. It is up to you as the Alberta government to fulfill the duty to consult.
Now, that is a lively exchange that's getting a lot of attention between Alberta Premier Danielle Smith and Manitoba Premier Wab Kinew. They were at odds about Alberta's separatism referendum and a judge's decision to overturn its approval. Their comments were at a news conference wrapping up the annual meeting of the Western Premiers as the political heads tried to show a united front and instead did seemingly the opposite. Joining us now to unpack this all, we're joined by Kelly Saunders, chair of Brandon University's Political Science Department. Hello, thanks so much for being with us.
Hi, my pleasure to be here.
So given what we know about Canada's premiers and their differing beliefs, especially these two, I think it's safe to say they have a lot of difficult discussions, debates behind closed doors. But what do you think it says when this sort of discord spills over in front of the cameras?
Yeah, wow. You usually don't see this. Usually the premiers or first ministers try to make nice when the cameras are on. Not that they don't have spirited discussions, but usually they try to keep that behind closed doors. So the fact that this spilled over into the public shows just how serious and how high stakes these issues really are, not only for Alberta, but certainly for all of Canada as well.
And it wasn't just Kinew. BC Premier David Eby also said he disagrees profoundly with the referendum. He called it a huge mistake. So do you think this sort of dialogue from our elected officials reflects how the rest of Canada is looking at this referendum?
Well, I certainly can't speak for all Canadians, but I think that, there is a bit of a disconnect that we're seeing here. I mean, for most Canadians, we're rallying around Canada and the flag and build Canada strong and protecting our economy from American tariffs and threats from the United States. And then you have Alberta kind of going rogue and wanting to turn their back on a lot of that. So I think it really shows how probably the rest of Canada is feeling like we need to pull together and work as a team. And then you've got Alberta kind of on the outside of all that. So I think that's a bit of the disconnect that you see happening here.
So Kinew and Smith were disagreeing over a court ruling that puts the separatism referendum in a bit of legal limbo. So the Alberta judge that overturned the referendum said the government failed to consult with First Nations. Smith says that judge erred. Kinew says that's not correct. So in your opinion, where does this leave Smith as her government pursues the referendum? Is there a path forward?
Well, it's certainly got a lot murkier now. I mean, the duty to consult is quite clear in the sense that the Supreme Court has ruled, going back to 2004 and then in numerous rulings since then, that the Crown, which means provincial governments, the federal government, has to consult with Indigenous peoples before they do anything, make any decisions, take any actions that could potentially impede on Indigenous rights. So that has been pretty clear from the Supreme Court. And even though Premier Smith is trying to get around that by saying, well, it's a citizen initiative, this isn't the Alberta government. At the end of the day, if there is a referendum that's going to go forward, it is going to be brought forward by the Alberta government. So I think she's trying to distance herself and get around this duty to consult, but I don't think it's going to fly with the court. Certainly you've had two judges now that have said, look, you can't do this, can't pull a fast one, and you have to fulfill this duty. And so certainly she did say she's going to appeal it. But, I don't see really a way that she's going to be able to get around this.
So we talked a little bit about this sparring being a little out of the ordinary, but I'm wondering if you can kind of put it more of a historical perspective. We've had sovereignty referendums before, 2 in Quebec. Is this kind of similar discourse to what was afoot back then?
Well, I think that it's certainly, not that it wasn't serious and high stakes back in 1980 and then again in 1995, the 2 times that Quebec did put forward a referendum in that province to separate from Canada. Not that it wasn't high stakes politics back in those days, but I think that this has taken on even added significance right now, what Alberta is trying to do, not only because, it's the first time we're seeing a Western province or a province outside of Quebec trying to do this, but the stakes are so much higher because we've got the threats from the United States, and we've also got Indigenous rights and this idea of the duty to consult much more clearly specified by the courts. And so, yeah, there's a lot of really important pressing questions before all of Canada, and I think that Alberta is finding itself really on the outside of what's happening, and probably how most Canadians feel about the potential possibility of breaking up the country at a time when national unity is so much the number one issue for so many Canadians.
All right, fascinating to watch this all unfold. Thank you so much for breaking it all down for us, Kelly.
Great, thank you.
Several children's products from a Chinese manufacturer are being recalled for issues ranging from the risk of chemical burns to strangulation. Health Canada currently has 9 separate recall notices for products, from the kiddo space. That includes finger painting kits, which contain hazardous chemicals, an egg toy puzzle, which presents a choking hazard, and a hammock-style swing set that could become tangled around a child's neck. You're being told to immediately stop using the products and can contact the company for either a refund or replacement. You can find a full list of the affected items by visiting Health Canada's website. South of the border, new research suggests more than half of U.S. teens are losing critical sleep because they're on their phones too late at night. The American Academy of Pediatrics and the American Academy of Sleep Medicine recommend teenagers get 8 to 10 hours of sleep every night. However, according to new research, more than half of U.S. teens spend at least an hour on their phone overnight on school nights. The research doesn't directly link nighttime phone use to harmful outcomes for teens. However, previous research has shown sleep disruption does have negative impacts on cognitive function, emotional regulation, mental health, and more. Experts say building healthier habits starts with parents modeling healthy screen behaviors.
Medical Watch is brought to you by Manuke and Koster Denture Clinic. Spotlight, sponsored by the Casinos of Winnipeg, presenting country legend Marty Stewart.
A golden opportunity for K-pop Demon Hunter fans is coming to Centennial Concert Hall. It's called K-Hunters, the show, and is a live tribute to the hit animated film. Audience members will be transported to Korea, where K-pop idols battle demons in order to save the world. The high-energy stage production with features all of the songs, the choreography and characters, which made the original a global phenomenon. The takedown hits the stage on August 4th at 7 p.m. Tickets go on sale this Friday at 11 a.m. on the Centennial Concert Hall's website. Well, another day, another new record for Drake.
Yo, baby, mama ain't even post a single damn.
Not only does he hold the top 3 spots on the charts with his 3 new albums, he now has 12 albums on the Billboard Top 200 chart, putting him in the company of only Prince and the Beatles. Drake also now has the most #1 hits on the Billboard Hot 100 ever by a male solo artist, even surpassing Michael Jackson. Julia Louis-Dreyfus is headed to Broadway for the first time. The 11-time Emmy winner will star in a revival of Other Desert Cities. Louis-Dreyfus, known for her roles, of course, on Seinfeld and Veep, stars as Polly alongside Broadway veterans Ed Harris, Allison Janney, and Lily Rabe. Her role was previously played by Stockard Channing back in 2012 when Other Desert Cities was nominated for a Tony Award for Best Play. The 16-week run at the Hudson Theatre begins in October. Well, here is your primetime lineup for Wednesday. It kicks off with MasterChef at 7. The Floor comes next at 8. Then catch 3 back-to-back episodes of The Big Bang Theory starting at 9. It's all right here tonight on CTV.
Women's clothing provided by RW & Company. Salon services provided by S&Teak Spa Salon.
28 degrees out there in Winnipeg right now. Mix of sun and cloud, a little windy. You might appreciate that. East winds at 17 kilometers an hour with gusts up to 30. A heat warning in effect for Winnipeg and much of Manitoba. These hot conditions will last well into next week, and you can see for yourself for Winnipeg. Tonight down to 16 degrees, mostly clear. Thursday we are forecast to hit 35. It could be a record-breaking day. It'll be close. Those temperatures will last well, like I say, until at least Tuesday.
Thanks, Colleen. Going to the hospital can sometimes be a stressful experience, especially for children. But an overhaul at a key waiting area at HSC Children's Hospital is likely to make the trip a little less intimidating. This is your first look inside the appropriately named Smile Zone. It features vibrant colors, calming displays, and some interactive features. The goal is to offer some comfort and much needed distraction to families during what can often be a difficult time. The project was made possible through support by the Brian, Connor, and Dee Family Foundation. Looks much better than so many hospital waiting rooms look like. Great. That'll put some smiles on some faces. That's going to do it for us. Remember, you can watch CTV News anytime on our website, and be sure to join Joseph for CTV News at 11:30.